one of the big challenges that we've tried to get away from as an organization is making sure we don't have master keys for units because keys can get lost, and there's a variety of different things that can happen with master keys. With an electronic lock, they are, hack proof, but if the wrong person still has, universal access or somebody doesn't click the right button, you basically just have a master key that anybody can get into any area of your building.
They can use PIN codes. There's a key, backup key, so you got that redundancy in case the lock dies, right? Because they're probably not going to change the batteries out when the little red light comes up.
It's an interesting system. I would say there's pluses and minuses: time saving, not using keys, permission control from work orders that create access code, so you can't use your access code in every unit until the work order is created.
Welcome everybody. I'm glad you made time. You were able to make the time to meet with us today. I want to start with the introductions. Chris Caramanica, it's your first time, so welcome. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background, about what you're currently doing.
Thanks, Adrian. Hello, everybody. Chris Caramanica. I'm a director of facilities for Wynn Companies. I've been with Wynn just coming up on 9 years now. I've been in the industry almost a little over 15 years, and I oversee a portfolio of about 12,000 assets in 4 states, about 95 properties as of today. Started out as a maintenance supervisor and worked my way up over the years into the role that I'm currently in.
Hey, Chris, since we're at it, tell us a little bit about your podcast for those of us that don't know about the podcast. Let's do a plug.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for that, Adrian. So I recently, in August, I started a podcast called Beyond the Work, Tales in Multifamily Maintenance, and with the Multifamily Media Network. And it's been a great opportunity for me to talk about stories and tales that I have from the maintenance field, as well as hearing some, from other industry professionals. And, my goal is to eventually interview everybody from a porter all the way up through C-suite, right? I want to talk about their tales, their challenges. Some of you are on my short list. I see some names on here, so be on the lookout for an invite. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It's been going pretty well. Drops every Thursday. It's available on all your major podcast channels. And for those of you that don't know me, hello, and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to talk to you more and pick your brain.
You also got to come on my podcast, Chris.
I know, Adrian, but now I'm so busy with mine. But absolutely, send me the invite. I should have some free time, and I think November is looking good. So
that's fantastic. Well, welcome once again, Jason. Jason.
Hey, Jason Fine, VP of Maintenance at Dominium. I get the opportunity to work with Darren, so it's good to see Darren's on this call too. So what we do is we support the teams, and we're there for making sure that they've got the tools and the training and everything that they need to be able to run a successful property. So,
okay. And also, Jason, tell us about your podcast.
Yeah,
since we're at it.
I've got the podcast with TAA. And what we do is it's called How to Speak Maintenance, and we talk about different challenges and things that are hitting the maintenance industry and what people are doing to fix it. And it's also to try to help bridge the gap between the office and the maintenance side of the house as well. So try to show the other side of the curtain, as you may, so they know what the maintenance teams are going through.
Well, thank you and welcome back, Mark Sharp. You're the next podcaster on the list.
Oh wow! I'm. There's so many of us. I love it. It's fantastic. Thank you for the introduction there. Mark Sharp, VP of Facilities for NOAA Property Management. We're a brand new management company. Just celebrated our year anniversary 2 days ago. So lots of innovation. One of the few companies out there that's centralized out of a need, and we're figuring it out as we go. So I wear a lot of hats. Thankfully, I'm working from home today. I had to get out, but yes, I'm also on the Multifamily Media Network with Chris, and my podcast is called Multifamily Mixtape. we kind of discuss a lot of things with my podcast specifically, but a lot of it right now is centering around recruitment and retention. What we are doing wrong as an industry in getting people into the maintenance field, and what we could do better to get them in and train them properly. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Peter, you're up next.
Hey everyone, Peter Christensen, work for Center Space Homes, Midwest and Mountain West areas. We have 13,000 units, director of maintenance and purchasing, and this is my first year in that role.
Thank you, Peter. Juan, are you ready for the introduction?
I'm having some audio issues. Can you guys hear me?
Yep,
Awesome.
loud and clear here.
How's it going, guys? It's Juan Lara Islas, Senior Director, National Multifamily Facilities for Southern Land Company. Been in the industry for about 15, 16 years. Don't have a podcast, but I see everybody does. So, kind of heard a lot of the stories where, people start from the bottom and work their way up. Mine is similar. Started as to work my way up, and just here to be able to provide any insight and any assistance to our fellow service companions. So thank you for putting this together, Adrian.
Well, we appreciate you being here and joining us today again. Scott Peters, you're up next, sir.
Good morning, Scott Peters. I'm with Con Am Management. I'm the VP of Property Services, and we are nationwide. We have about 460 properties and just about 60,000 units. We do everything from maintenance, CapEx work, interior renovations. So that's our deal. And like Juan there, I see everybody has podcasts. I got to get on board here. I'm slacking.
Well, welcome back. And Darren, it's your first time, so welcome.
Yes, thank you, guys. And I do see some friendly faces. I report to Jason. I work for Dominion. We're the largest affordable developer in the country. We got about 38,000 units around 19 states. My job, I'm a regional maintenance manager, and I provide support to about 9,000 of those units. We like I said, we do affordable housing. So my focus really is just on the affordable, bringing awareness to workforce housing. And the reason I really like Dominion is the way we do it is we really pay attention to details and amenities. And hi to everybody. I do know a couple of you guys. I see Chris is a NAA alum, so nice to see some friendly faces there. And back to the podcast. I really got to check out all you guys' podcasts. Really do. Mark in particular, the one about getting more people into the industry. That's always a big need, and pay and attrition is always really challenging. So any strategies we can hear for that, I'm all for it. So thank you again for putting this together, Adrian.
Well, absolutely, Darren, and welcome. I'm glad you're joining us. Scott Ployer, you're next, sir.
Hey, Adrian. Hey, everybody. Great to be back. I'm the founder and president of National Property Management Strategies Group. It is a niche consultancy that I provide a number of value-added services to clients, including strategic planning, process improvement, corporate lifecycle optimization, all which are driven by maximizing efficiencies and minimizing redundancy. So I'm looking forward to today's session. I don't have a podcast yet, but we are launching the second week in October. My podcast is going to be called Safe by Design. It'll be on the Multifamily Media Network as well.
Well, welcome and congratulations on starting a podcast.
Thank you, Adrian.
Kyle, you're up next.
Yeah, that's me. My name is Kyle Lepore. I work with a company out of the Midwest here in Indiana, based out of Indiana and Illinois, called Regency Multifamily. And we do about 4,500 units owned and managed. And I'm the director of project management and maintenance for our team. And yeah, I'm really just here to kind of learn more and gain valuable industry insights. And I was on your the last call that you guys had, and got some good value out of that. So I'm looking forward to hearing more today and future ones. So thanks for having me.
Welcome back, Kyle, and we gotta get you as a guest on a podcast next.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to. I do wanted to share right here with a group. I thought that since our group is approaching 80 members, we're really close to 80. We should be labeling ourselves somehow, and this way hopefully we could attract more leaders faster. And the name that I came up with was Multifamily Facilities Leadership Council. So one of the things that I would like to do, of course, with your permission, would be to start highlighting our members. I think that there's a lot of brain power and there's a lot of expertise every time we get together in a virtual room, and I think it's helpful for the world to see what we do out here outside of what I'm posting every now and then. So we post more, we attract more leaders, and then our group can provide more value to more people. So we increase our reach. If for some reason you don't want to be highlighted, then just let me know. But my plan is to basically take eventually every group member and just say a few words about you, about your bio with a picture, with an introduction, and saying you're a member of the council. By your following and your network, we're hoping to increase our numbers, right? So any feedback here really quick? Just want to go around the room and kind of get a pulse, right? Since this is an idea that I've been brewing for a while and I haven't really asked for feedback. Mark Sharp, your thoughts?
I like it. I think anything we can do to brand ourselves as a group of individuals trying to better our industry and attract more leaders, I think is a good thing. So I like it.
Jason, fine?
Yeah, no, I agree with what Mark said. Makes sense.
Peter?
Absolutely. Logo looks great too.
Appreciate it. I want to pass it on to the person that put it together, that created it. It wasn't me for sure. Chris Caramanica, your thoughts?
No, I think it's a good idea to start getting some of that branding behind it, and I think I'm in. That sounds good to me.
Cool. Darren?
I'm in as well.
Cool. Scott
Logo
Peters?
looks great.
Appreciate it. Scott Peters?
Yeah, looks good, and I think a good solid name for it. And you see, there's a lot of forums and things on the other side of the block as far as the office side and the management side, but not a lot on the facilities maintenance side. So I think it's great, and I think it's important that you've gathered such a large group of individuals from our industry. It's wonderful.
I'm just grateful for you all, making time to participate and helping me grow this group, because it's, as I keep saying all the time on every meeting, it's not about me. It's about what we could do together with our experiences and our backgrounds and everything. Scott Player, any thoughts, sir?
Same as everyone else has articulated, Adrian. I think it's a great logo. I like the idea of branding it, and I like the idea of sharing it with the masses. I think we can look potentially down the road at having hundreds of members participating, because no one of us is as smart as all of us.
That's definitely the goal. I'm very committed to to grow our group to hundreds of members and make a real impact through our conversations and through our activities here. I think that we could really affect change, and we shouldn't be expecting for someone else from outside to affect that change. We are the change. Kyle, any thoughts?
No, I echo everything else or everything that everybody else has said, and I appreciate it. I'm good. Thank you.
How about you, Juan?
No, I agree. I think this is a great move, and it'll definitely help our movement for sure.
Yeah, gentlemen, thank you all for the feedback, and thank you for all being positive. Of course, also open to to negative or to constructive criticism. I don't think that my ideas are the best, or they should be the only ones being pushed out there when it comes to our group and our council now. We're gonna break the news probably in the next couple of days. Just announcing that we branded ourselves as a council. I'm gonna start highlighting each one of you. So I might be reaching out on an individual basis and asking you for a bio and a headshot. If I don't have one of yours already, or like a current one, because want to make this part of making it bigger is to like get a message out and like tell people what we do here and who we are, who our members are. First topic for today, access control and security. I like to go kick off the conversations with discussing the latest developments in access control technology. Like, what do you see from like general access control to the community to the individual units? What do you see for technology out there? And if you have any particular experience, I would like for you to share it with us. Jason, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, sure. I've had some experience both with Camden and now with Dominium. What I've seen in the market is pretty cool technology. I think the one that I saw at Camden that we were installing was it was a product called Chirp. I think it was purchased by RealPage, but it allows the residents access to be able to put PIN codes in. They can use PIN codes. There's a key, backup key, so you got that redundancy in case the lock dies, right? Because they're probably not going to change the batteries out when the little red light comes up. And then and I've seen it where it also kind of ties into the gates. It kind of renders those old gate door king systems useless, and it actually allows it allows the residents the ability to like open gates when their company comes over. So it's pretty neat. I think the technology is changing and it's growing, and there's a big opportunity for property management companies to really embrace it and give that ability to their residents. So
Jason, how about the ability to integrate with like Yardies of the world, the Real Pages of the world, to where when a new resident is being onboarded, right? They get their moving package and everything. They're also set up in a system automatically and also offboarded. So then the staff at the site don't have to like manually remove residents from the system. Is that an option with the systems that you've been exposed to so far?
Not the Salto system, I think. I don't know, Darren, you probably have more experience with that than I do, but with the Chirp and the RealPage product, that actually does tie into your lease. And so as soon as somebody signs a new lease, then they get access to Chirp, and then when their lease is terminated, it cancels it out. So that really helps make sure that nobody still has access to an old apartment. So
how about opportunities that you see, like things that you wish those systems would have, but you don't, or you haven't seen them yet? Features.
My wish that I think that, look, if we can send a rocket up into space and we can land it back down on a pad, I don't know why we can't build anything, right? Like, so the thing that I wish myself is that there was more embracing of technology on the resident side. Because when we were installing those locks, there was some residents that still have flip phones. There was residents that didn't want technology. So there's still this, the technology we can do whatever. We can build really cool products, and there are really great products out there. It's, will the residents, adopt it, and will it become something that they find valuable? So I think that's the biggest challenge.
Great, thank you. Chris Caramonica, what's your feedback?
Well, one of the big challenges, we're starting to go over to some electronic key systems on apartments. I think one of the big challenges that we're going to experience is the master key ability. So, one of the big challenges that we've tried to get away from as an organization is making sure we don't have master keys for units, because keys can get lost. And there's a variety of different things that can happen with master keys. With an electronic lock, they are hack proof, but if the wrong person still has, universal access, or somebody doesn't click the right button, you've basically just have a master key that anybody can get into any area of your building. I'm not even talking about hacking. I'm talking about that disgruntled maintenance tech that leaves and somebody forgets to disable them from the system. Because those things aren't tying in to RealPage, right? That's a manual entry. I'm sure we've all seen it when people have left and we've logged into like a handy track system or something, and there's somebody's badge is still in the system weeks, months, even in some cases years later. Imagine that with electronic. You have a bad actor that wants to come back 6 months later. he swipes his phone on a door, and all of a sudden he has access. So it is a scary part of the technology that I'm worried about, because I don't think it's much more user based than physically having the key and saying I have the key.
Yeah, there's pros and cons definitely to to both. What I'm hearing from solution providers is that some of them are actually having their integration to where when a employee is offboarded, all of their access is being cut, including like this master access to apartments. And if any of you here has any knowledge of that nature, please do share, because I mean I think that's important to the conversation. So great points. I totally get the concerns, Chris. Peter.
I do.
Sorry, please go ahead.
I was going to say, so we actually, in my current company and my previous company that I worked for, we were we heavily relied on digital keys, fobs, 100% integrated. And what really helped us out, and not trying to throw out a name of it, but we used Brevo, Stratus, Salto. We used all those different options. And what really helped us out is creating an SOP, right? We never allowed any master keys for the on-site staff. And actually most of those programs have what are called maintenance keys, where you actually have to add the unit you're going to go into, and then at the end of the day, it'll automatically remove the unit. So there's ways around it. You just have to work with your provider to be able to set up those permissions or that back end work for your property and your company's needs.
Got it. Thank you, Juan, for your input. Peter?
Yeah, so we over the past couple of years have been integrating smart technology with locks and leak detectors. We use Smart Rent. We've had building accesses that are Salto and Butterfly. Those have not really changed. They also integrate with Smart Rent in a certain type of way. One benefit I think is the keys and the access. And to Chris's point, even if somebody does get fired or whatever, at least it is their unique access that you are recognizing that they're trying to get back in. So then it becomes a legal thing more than anything else. So, but a little easier to track that way. We haven't had that experience, but with it's an interesting system. I would say there's pluses, minus, time saving, not using keys, permission control from work orders that create access codes. So you can't use your access code in every unit until the work order is created, whether that be emergency or not. And then the leak detectors have been beneficial for finding things that we wouldn't have necessarily found. They are also a disruption to our on-call. It's created a significant amount of more calls, after hours calls, than what the teams are used to. So that's putting a stress on the teams.
Peter, overall, thumbs up or thumbs down for the access control?
Money savings, I think, from water losses, hard to say how much you're actually saving, because is it a drip or is it a flood? Who knows what you actually stopped? But if you average your water losses, I think we say we save money. I will say that our on-call expenses are greatly increased this year. And then from a personnel standpoint, they like parts of it, but they hate the on-call part of it. So on-calls is not an easy part of our job to begin with. Sorry, mixed review is the answer.
No, I like to expose the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's the whole thing here, right? What do we see? It's not about everything being great. Like we need to understand the challenges, because each challenge comes with a equal opportunity to like address the particular challenge, I believe. So
I have a question for Peter, if you don't mind.
No,
Yeah.
not at all, please.
So you guys are doing the leak detection. You're saying that's putting a burden on your on-call. Is there a way for your guys to determine what is an emergency or non-emergency? That's question one. And then if they get a leak alert on a occupied unit, and let's say it's just a little drip from a water heater from the spout on the water heater, and it's just, putting a little bit of water into the pan, and the resident has no idea, are your guys showing up at 2 o'clock in the morning to knock on a resident's door without them knowing?
Yeah, so basically what would happen is the leak detectors, when they go off, I found out this actually today, is that they are hardwired to stop beeping after 7 minutes, which then the residents don't mark it as a false alarm if they inspect, like it was under a kitchen sink or something like that, and they put a wet rag there, but it stops beeping, they won't know that it's still going off, and a notification is going to get triggered. So from our company, the SOP is that when they get a notification, they're supposed to call the resident and see if it's a leak or not. In some of our states, even if it is a leak, you have to have permission from the resident to go into their unit. Even though in our lease, it says that if there's a leak, we have permission to enter if there's an emergency situation like a fire or a leak or something like that. So the sensor can't differentiate between a drop of water and being covered in water,
Right.
which is really difficult. And because the alarm goes off after 7 minutes, most of the residents will just ignore it. And then the notification that the resident gets on their phone is that there's a leak. The maintenance team has been notified. I'm trying to get that changed to there's a leak, or there's been a leak detected at this location, says the name of the sensor. Go inspect it. If it is not true, mark it as a false alarm. If it is true, call your emergency maintenance team, so that we're not relying on the notification, we're relying on the resident marking it false or not false. But yes, according to our SOP, they are supposed to go in at 2 o'clock in the morning to a resident that does not know that they're coming.
Wow.
Which is not a great feeling from a maintenance perspective.
Absolutely not. Anybody else ever been held at gunpoint going into a unit? Because
I've heard it. It hasn't happened to me. I don't want it to happen.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious how you guys are doing that. Appreciate it. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
Mark, what's your take on the topic?
So at NOAA, out of a need, we went with a company called Show Mojo. So we have 1,500 access doors for our portfolio spread out over 22 properties. So if I were on a single property and I had to just worry about my 300-400 homes, I think access control is amazing. I think there's a lot of things that it helps and saves time. Maintenance doesn't have to run around with keys. You don't, no leasing agent still has keys in the desk, or somebody didn't hang it on the right tag, or whatever. None of that. And Showmojo's app is pretty easy to use. You go to the door, you tell them which address you're on, you request a one-time code for a work order, you get the code, and then you can use that code one time. So you enter and take care of what you need to take care of. The hard part is if you don't have what you need to take care of it at that one point, then you've got to leave, lock the door, request another code when you come back, and so there's some things like that, but it syncs with our PMS. So residents moving in and out, they can always set their own codes. But what's really, really tough, and I'm gonna look at your all's faces here when I say this, because I want to see your reaction. But the president of the company elected to not give the residents the backup key. So it is code only. And to kind of echo a little bit of what Peter was just saying about an on-call nightmare, this is an on-call nightmare because residents ignore that little beep, that little red light. And of course, it's 4 AA batteries, but they don't want to use their batteries. They'll make you come out at 10:30, 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, doesn't matter. And if they can't get in their door, you got to go help them. So, I think from an access control standpoint, I think there's benefits to it. But from an application side of it, from someone who's lived it, breathed it, it's a nightmare.
Peter has a hand raised. Peter, please.
Sorry about that. In addition to that, with Smart Rent and what you were saying with the keys, Smart Rent does not have the ability to have keys at all. So it is only code access. If a lock fails, it takes what I've heard on average of about 45 minutes to an hour to drill out a lock. So if there's an issue, it's really bad. And Smart Rent is supposed to notify you when it gets to 30% battery in a work order format. We've heard recently that it is not doing that all the time consistently.
So I'm sorry, Adrian. I've got another question. I'm here
Sure.
to learn.
No apologies needed. Please go ahead, by all means.
We ping pong back and forth. So going back, Mark, and maybe even Peter, our SOP in our company is after hours, we cannot let a resident into a unit. Our maintenance, technicians, they don't have access to know who's supposed to be in the unit. And to one point, maybe if you just replace the batteries and they have their app and they can do it, okay, not a big deal, right? But we also don't know if a week ago it was a roommate situation and the two got in some disagreement and one got kicked out and they were taken off the lease, but it wasn't updated in the system. And then all of a sudden you go and change that, or you drill their lock and you let somebody into that unit that wasn't supposed to be there. How are you guys legally handling that after hours if you're letting residents into units?
That's a great question. And I wish I had a prepared statement for you. That's not going to sound political, but honestly, because maintenance, we have our PMS apps. We can look up the apartment number, see who the resident is. We make them send us a screenshot of themselves and their face with their driver's license in order for us to leave the house. We do not leave the house. We do not come out. If somebody says, "Hey, my code's not working, I can't get in," I'm sorry, that's not good enough. You have to follow these 3 steps. Send it to me. I have to verify you are who you say you are, and then we'll go out with we carry those little rechargeable like phone chargers people used to carry around, and there's a specific cord that you plug into that, and you can plug into the bottom of the lock, which will give it a one-time jump, so you can put a code in or a backdoor code or whatever to get it to unlock. But in us maintenance guys, you've got the transition in temperatures from cold to hot. Wood frame doors with metal door, the door swells and contracts depending on the weather outside, and so those little locks have very small motors, and unless it is aligned properly, you're going to get some pull on it and it's not going to unlock. It'll just sit there and shut down to keep it from burning itself up. So, I can't tell you the number of calls from people being locked out or the door doesn't work, and we'll just grab the doorknob and shake it a little bit. I swear, some of these residents just they don't want to do anything to help themselves. So
yeah, no, man, okay, I was just curious how you guys were handling that. And Adrian, I'm not trying to hijack you here, but I'm just trying to learn about some of this stuff because, like I've told you before, we have conventional properties and affordable. So I love seeing Darren on here who has affordable, and I'd like to ask Darren, with all the technology out there in the affordable world, I know kind of what we're seeing. What do you see, Darren, as trying to lump all this technology into the affordable world?
Yeah, I am a huge fan of access control systems. I'm a big fan. There are a couple of negatives that I can speak on, but just to the hard keys, one of the biggest things, especially in affordable, right? We build properties using the tax credit, Section 42, the tax credit program. So there's income limits. You know, there's a minimum income and then a maximum income, and it's important to follow the law. I mean, it's the federal law. But a lot of times you'll see, you know, our average resident at Dominium is a 35-year-old woman with 2 kids. Okay. She moves in. It's just me and my 2 kids, you know, we're here to, you know, build a future, and moving day, you know, boyfriend's got the boxes. All right. And when it's with keys are issued to whoever is of key holding age in the apartment. So if she's got a teenager and we give you 2 keys. It's really easy for you to just make a key, and you know, now boyfriend or you know, extra occupants can live there. With access control, the key is just going to the person, so it's much more difficult to have extra occupants with access control. Everything is time date stamped. We use the Salto geos, which I do like. Someone was talking about battery issues. We have a recurring work order. We use Yardi, by the way, but we have a recurring work order in Yardi every month for our team members to audit those locks. In the Salto application, you can pull up all of the locks and you can get a battery status report. So anything under 20%, just jump up in there, and it's pretty easy. It's a little decal that turns from green to amber to red. And then there's also a audio alert on the lock, like for the resident. So if the battery is getting low, if it got 20% or below, resident goes to put their lock on a door, you'll hear a series of 4 beeps and then a couple of red lights. So the resident knows, hey, something's wrong with my lock, and then it'll turn green and let them in. But it tells them right there, oh yeah, there's something wrong with this lock. So there's a chance for them to report it. And then, like I said, monthly, we have a recurring work order. Maintenance team jumps in there, does the audit, and they can change locks on their own. Another thing I like about the ones that you're using now is you need, and there's a couple of ways for integration with these. Right now, we just use RFID, but you can do NFC, where, you know, like the Apple Pay kind of thing. You know, a lot of hotels are using NFC. They're also compatible with mobile too. We don't have those turned on right now. We just use little fobs and RFID. But a good thing about this particular lock is when you lock the door, well, when you open a door, you have to tap it again to lock it. You know, so it almost eliminates the resident saying, "Oh, well, you know, maintenance left my door open," because they know, and it's just automatic. You tap to get in, tap to lock the door. We're in affordable. We're subject to a lot more inspection than multifamily. You know, multifamily, you got like your fire inspection, maybe the city comes out, but like that's it. You know, we've got the state authorities. If you got a HUD loan backing, you know, you got the feds coming in. So inspections is really nice, okay, to have keys. That's like the #1 pet peeve of an inspector. I got a 6-year-old kid. He plays, you know, Sonic. I know you guys remember the old Sonic cartoons or the video games, but he'd like hold his arms and be tapping, like, come on already, if you didn't play for a while. But that's how that inspector is. You know, you want to piss an inspector off, go ahead and bumble a bunch of keys. You know, we have it really helps us out. I mean, you get 1 key, which is programmable. You can do all the locks and get your inspection done super efficiently. Those are, you know, really things I really like about access control. I mean, it's here to stay, and residents like it too. Even the affordable ones, they like having that, fancy technology. They really do. So that's my 2 cents. And I'll just say this off subject. Peter was talking about water leak systems. We use a water leak system at Dominium as well that I love. We have under 10% water leak loss company wide, and we have 38,000 units, so it's a big thing. So Adrian, that might be another subject another time, man. I'll definitely have some 2 cents on that.
I totally agree. It's on my list for future subjects. I have more thoughts on this, but I want to go around the table, make sure that everybody was heard before we go for the second time, and we wrap up with suggestions for next conversations. But I have a thought here in regards to all the challenges that you all expressed. Scott Player, any feedback here? Any thoughts on the subject?
Yeah, I think I'm the oldest and longest serving facility person on this call at 38 and a half years. So I've seen it come a long way from just the original SC1 locks and everything that we used. And then they introduced the medical security system locks. And now we've gone into, computerized access control, license plate readers on properties. And I do a lot of work with insurance companies. With all of the advances in technology, we're also giving stuff up. We're giving up a level of control that, we used to feel more confident about. I checked into a hotel recently, a Marriott hotel, and there were no key cards. They said, put it on your phone, and this is how you're going to get in and out. And I'm like, okay. So, that's perfectly okay. But I can think of people checking in. What about, hypothetically, my aunt who's, 83 years old checks into the hotel, she doesn't know how to use that phone technology. So I see pluses and minuses. And to Darren's point, I've spent the majority of my career focused on the affordable housing industry. And how we can maximize efficiencies and reduce costs and improve our overall standing in the community. But on the insurance side, I look at it this way. What happens, God forbid, and we all know what the world is we're living in today. What if someone's fumbling with a lock in a hallway and someone comes up from behind them and accosts them in some way, shape, or form because the technology didn't work? Now, I know I take that to the outer ring there, but this is the way my mind operates after all these years is, what are the potential downfalls to having this level of technology? Failed systems, batteries, et cetera. I just think it places more of an onus of responsibility on the facilities team to really spend more time focusing on the operational features of the equipment versus what we're typically doing as facilities leaders.
Thank you, Scott. Kyle?
Yeah, I guess I've got a lot of the same comments that everybody else does. I mean, we've had a few properties that have used like the Bravas system that maybe somebody else mentioned. We've had connectivity issues with those, and to where we're having to drill out locks and all that. What we've actually converted several of those properties now to more of a quick set, like the numerical keypads with a backup lock. And we've had pretty good success with those. And now we've got them at several, I don't know, probably 1,000 units, which isn't very many, but we've had good success with those by comparison to the actual electronically controlled fob systems. So I think that's kind of been more of a new standard. If we're building properties, we're typically going that route versus even really entertaining access controls at this point. We just don't, at least our experience, again, very limited, has been unfortunately more negative than positive. So that's about all I got to say, I guess, about that.
Scott Peters, any other thoughts on our topic?
I'm surprised you came back to me after I hijacked half the call.
Of course. Of course.
But yeah, I mean, in going back to Scott Ployer's point here, when we're putting more on maintenance right now, one of the other hot topics is, right, who is employing maintenance right now? Where are they coming from, and what's their abilities coming through the door? And we're adding more to the plate with that. So, a lock is a lock. So if you have a key that doesn't work, you still have to take care of it. But now if you're having to service all these with batteries and things like that, we are now putting more onto maintenance teams that are overstressed. In my view right now, I don't know how you all are doing, but as far as I hear across the board, it is very tough to hire good maintenance folks these days. And even just to get a good body in the door. So there's trade-off there. There's trade-off.
Thank you, Scott. Juan, any thoughts? Any other than what you just shared so far? On another call. No worries. So German, in closing, right? We're about like 10 minutes out. I wanted to just put something out there, kind of is not necessarily a challenge to what you just said, but I do wanted to say that there's millions of hotel rooms throughout the world that are actually using technology, and there's actually technology that, to my knowledge, works, right? I'm sure that they have their issues, some issues too. Obviously, we don't have someone that's been working in the hotel industry for years to kind of share, ups and like pros and cons on that. But to me, as a customer, client of hotels, as a traveler, I travel all over the place. Yeah, I use cards sometimes. I use my phone sometimes. I honestly never had an issue with a door, and maybe that's norm. I could be an exception. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying that probably there's something that they're more advanced than us. I mean, for sure they are, because I know those type of locks have been around for way longer than we have been as multifamily. So in closing, I want to go back around the table, and we have just about over 8 minutes left. So I will ask you for each one of you to take like 30 seconds to tell me if you think that bringing in service providers that provide this type of solutions, right, would be helpful to actually ask them questions directly so they could respond real time, because those are all legit concerns that you brought up, right? But I want to bring some resolution to, if we could, and I think maybe bring in one or two service providers that have those solutions developed might be helpful. So I want to know if you would find that helpful in the future to bring a couple to be a part of the conversation and maybe answer some of our concerns. And secondly, what would you say would be top 2 or 3 topics that you like to see as part of our future conversations? So Peter, I'm going to ask you to go first.
I think some of it, probably could be beneficial to find some of that, the unfortunate part about, or like to actually bring some of the people, service providers in. Before this call, I literally got off of the SmartRent call, and they were not aware of their issues. So it might just come from, or they said it was not fixable, which was great. So I think it's information that needs to be more marketed prior to, information needs to be gathered prior to implementing a system, because now we're so far into it, we just got to figure out a way to make it work, unfortunately. And topics for future, I do like finding out about the technology that people are using, the systems that people are using, different inspection platforms, or how they're move in, move out inspections. I'll be interested to know what people have found to be really effective, as long as like turn times and processes, how to make that more efficient.
Thank you, Mark. Helpful to bring a couple of service providers in to do solutions real time. And secondly, what are top of mind topics for you for future?
For me, about bringing in some people, I would just, for me, I would just ask that it doesn't turn into a commercial. You know, like
No. We'll
Right.
make that very clear, right?
Yeah.
You're not gonna be
Yeah.
here to sell your products. I get a lot of requests every time I post about the group. I get a lot of requests from, like service providers saying, we love to be part of this group because, they try to tap into this group
Sure.
resource and buying power,
Who
whatever,
wouldn't?
right?
Who would not want to be part? You know what I'm saying? Like, but
You,
yeah,
you,
I just
you can't, no, you can't blame them for that. But, if we do that, you're right. You're making a great point, and I'm going to make it very clear. This is not about your products. Like, tell us about technology in general. Like, speak as agnostic as you can about solutions, not about what you have to sell for the world. And leave it up to
Right.
people if they want to reach out and, be interested in your products. That's fine. But we'll give you a platform here to respond to challenges and, issues that real life we all face out there in the world. So
Yeah, no, I mean, outside of that, I would have no issues with somebody coming on, because it would be nice, to because maybe they're aware of a tip or trick that we're just not. So I see both sides. As far as topics go, just to kind of echo Peter, with platforms that individuals are using regarding inspections. And then another thing for me is that I would be interested in is training. What sort of platforms or programs do various companies have for their maintenance training teams, or for their teams regarding training? So,
okay, great points, Chris.
Mute.
You're muted.
There we go. Yeah, no, I think it'd be great to hear from some service providers, what their thoughts are, where the industry is going to. Adrian, to your point with hotels, the reason they work when you get there is because somebody's testing them before you walk in your room. And we can't be outside of an apartment every single day testing to make sure that their lock works. So there's a huge disconnect and a difference between the industry. But I'd love to hear how they're combating that. And I don't want an app, and I don't want an alert. I want a 10-year sealed battery. That's what I want, So I'd love to have the opportunity to talk. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of questions, same as Mark and Peter, about prop tech for inspections. There's a lot of things out there. See you, Scott. But I'd like to see, and hear from everybody else. What are they using? Why are they using it? And what are the benefits? And I have to jump as well, but it was good seeing you all. Thank you all so much.
You got it. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Darren?
Okay. Yeah. Figure out this mute button here. So a couple of topics. I think we do a pretty good job with utility management, but I'd love to hear something and more from everyone else on utility management, in particular water usage. It's one of the controllable costs. A lot of our communities, we pay the water bill, so there's no skin in the game for the resident to pay the water bill. So yeah, as far as service providers, absolutely, I'm really happy with my service provider. So I throw them up and tell them don't try to sell you something. But that's one topic. And then the ongoing topic of attrition and hiring employees. That the pool is getting real small as far as where we're pulling people from in industries. And each region is a little bit different too. So in Texas, we fight with the oil and gas industry. I get a guy, pay him $32 an hour, and he's rolling, and then 5 months later he's in the oil fields making $45 an hour. So love to hear more on those two.
Yeah, we'd like to circle back on that. I would like that too. I'm just gonna expand your thoughts and say that we're actually competing not just with particular industry, with everybody, geographical area. And when you think about gig economy or like online work, you compete with companies from all over the world. It could be a company from Asia that right now it's taking your potential candidates and hiring them, and you don't even have an idea. Right, so that there's way more, I think, to it than that. But I would love to go back and explore. We had similar topics in the past, but I love to, that's, I think, a thought that keeps us all up at night right?
That's it.
Where do we
I
find
probably have a little
personnel?
more hair up here.
You got it. Thank you. Scott Peters?
As far as bringing in, you know, some of the folks out there for service providers, like we said, you know, I always caution, because ultimately at the end of the day, that person's a salesperson, and they're trying to sell their product. So if they have great tips and things for some of the issues that are happening out there that they've heard, and that they can provide, that's wonderful. But in the same token, you know, they can always put up some stats and things like that that are unprovable to everybody on this call at that given moment. So I shed caution, but I would still see it as a valuable ad, you know. As far as topics, my big things, right, is training and recruitment right now. I mean, just finding maintenance, and then once they're in the door, training them and getting them to where they need to be. I've you know, I'm not in a position to in my company to implement those types of things, but I do have an opinion on those types of things, and I do have ears of those who we can implement those things with. And one of the big things is training, and what do you do? You know, when I was a maintenance supervisor, I would always hire the green guy because I wanted to train him my way. Okay. Always. These days, your maintenance supervisor is green and you're trying to hire a green guy to put under a green maintenance supervisor. So it's a big flop in this industry right now. I think it is. I don't know how everybody else feels, but it's something where that level of maintenance has really dropped.
Thank you, Scott. Kyle?
Is that me? Yeah, I'm open to bringing somebody in. To Peter's point, I think, you know, maybe they don't even know the problems that we're facing. I mean, so maybe there's some opportunity there for the right person or whoever you bring in. I think, you know, if they can run with it and talk to the right people and help us come up with some solutions, that would be great. As far as topics, again, I'm good. I'm big into the training thing. We use Interplay currently, but holding guys accountable for that, implementing actual valuable programs that, you know, each guy is going to be different. So how do we tailor those things to their specific needs has been a challenge for us. Also, just related to technology, I would be curious. We've been kind of dabbling in solar on some of our new builds, or even our existing builds for common areas and stuff like that. You know, some of the new builds, it's been kind of a question of, do residents see value in it? I would think they would, but we've kind of seen mixed reviews in our surveys or so, whatever. So I don't know. I'd just be curious if any of these bigger players out here, you guys are using solar in any kind of sense, but I think that's majority of what I got.
Juan?
Yeah, definitely. I think it'd be double-edged sword to bring in those vendors in, because again, you know, kind of just sound like a broken record. You know, at the end of the day, they do want to sell something or get a product in front of our eyes, right? So, and as long as it's not that, then I think we're in a good spot. You know, I think just a lot of the things that the previous members have touched on are good. You know, just the staffing and how do you get that green person and get them to where we need to get them.
Got it. Gentlemen, really appreciate it. I know we're up on time. We're past a couple of minutes. Thank you once again. I think I'm trying to have the recording and the editing done so we could post this by tomorrow, this conversation. As always, great conversations. Great to, you know, have you here all. Darren, you have an open invitation to my podcast. Let's chat about getting you on a podcast as a guest. And welcome, you know, being your first time. Hopefully you could attend like regularly going forward. Please do. Have you ever shared your information with me? I can't remember.
Yes, I'm going to send you my bio right now. I really appreciate it. It's really nice to meet you guys virtually, everybody.
And also, you know, best email address just so I could add you to our list, make sure that you're not missing out on communication. Gentlemen, have an amazing rest of the day. See you all in 2 weeks. Okay, take care.
Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Adrian.
you.
Bye, everybody.